Was Libya better under Gaddafi? Gaddafi's government prioritized healthcare as a fundamental human right. All Libyans had access to free medical treatment, from primary care to complex surgeries, ensuring comprehensive coverage. This system extended to rural areas, with clinics and hospitals built in even the most remote regions. Health indicators improved, and by the 1990s, Libya had one of the highest life expectancy rates in Africa. Infant mortality dropped significantly due to investments in maternal and child health care. If treatments were unavailable locally, Libyans could travel abroad for medical care, with the government covering the costs. Gaddafi's policies led to a significant transformation in Libya's educational landscape. Free education for all schooling, from primary to university level, was free for all citizens, including women. Literacy rates soared under Gaddafi, reaching over 88% by 2011, compared to just 10% before his rule. Students were sent abroad on government scholarships to pursue higher education in prestigious universities worldwide, fully funded by the state. Vocational training programs were set up to train Libyans in skills relevant to national development, such as engineering, healthcare, and agriculture. Gaddafi's housing policies aimed to eliminate homelessness and ensure everyone had a home. He abolished rent early in his rule. Gaddafi declared that houses belong to those who live in them, eliminating rent and redistributing homes to citizens. The government also provided financial assistance for citizens to build or purchase homes. Electricity bills were entirely covered by the state, ensuring that families didn't have to pay for power. Cities like Tripoli and Benghazi saw rapid urbanization, with modern apartments, roads, and public spaces built during his tenure. Gaddafi redistributed Libya's oil wealth directly to its citizens. Affordable essentials like fuel, food staples, and other essential goods were heavily subsidized, making them affordable for all Libyans. On marriage and family grants, newlywed couples received financial grants to help them start their families, and families received allowances to support raising children. No national debt. Gaddafi maintained Libya as one of the few debt-free nations globally, ensuring that oil wealth directly benefited the people, rather than paying off foreign loans. Libya's vast oil reserves were nationalized under Gaddafi, allowing revenues to fund ambitious projects and improve citizens' lives. Gaddafi's policies ensured that oil profits were reinvested into public services and infrastructure. In some cases, citizens received direct cash payments from oil revenues as part of his vision to distribute wealth equitably. Gaddafi invested heavily in transforming Libya's infrastructure to modernize the country. The Great Man-Made River, GMR, a flagship project, the GMR transported water from deep aquifers in the Sahara Desert to cities and farms, solving water shortages and boosting agriculture. It was dubbed the eighth wonder of the world. Modern highways connected previously isolated parts of the country, enhancing trade and travel. The construction of schools, hospitals, and cultural centers improved the quality of life. While Libya was traditionally conservative, Gaddafi implemented policies to enhance women's rights. Education and employment. Women gained access to free education and equal job opportunities. Women were encouraged to participate in political committees and leadership roles. Under Gaddafi, women were even trained in military defense, a controversial policy that he framed as a form of empowerment. Pan-African and global contributions. Gaddafi saw himself as a champion of African unity. Libya's wealth-funded development projects, liberation movements, and infrastructure in poorer African countries. Gaddafi was instrumental in the formation of the African Union, promoting economic integration and political unity across the continent. Low unemployment rates. Gaddafi's emphasis on nationalization and state-driven development created job opportunities. Most Libyans were employed in public sector jobs with decent salaries and benefits. Programs to modernize farming boosted rural employment, especially in regions benefiting from the Great Man-Made River. Security and stability for most citizens. Gaddafi's authoritarian rule meant strict control over the population, but for many, this provided a sense of security. His regime's harsh penalties for crimes, combined with centralized control, kept crime levels low. For decades, Libya avoided the ethnic and tribal conflicts that plagued neighboring countries, largely because dissent was stifled. Muammar Gaddafi's Libya offered numerous benefits rooted in the redistribution of oil wealth, free public services, and ambitious development projects. However, these came at the cost of personal freedoms and political oppression. While many Libyans experienced improved living standards during his rule, others faced marginalization, and his system left Libya unprepared for a peaceful transition after his fall. But who was this man, Gaddafi? Muammar Gaddafi was born in 1942 in a Bedouin tent near Sirte, Libya, to a poor family. He was deeply influenced by Arab nationalist leaders like Egypt's Gamal Abdel Nasser. Gaddafi attended military school in Libya and later received additional training in the UK. Gaddafi embraced pan-Arabism, socialism, and anti-imperialism, which shaped his future political ideology. Rise to power. Overthrowing the monarchy in 1969. At age 27, Gaddafi led a bloodless military coup that overthrew King Idris I. He established the Libyan Arab Republic and became its de facto leader. Political ideology. He rejected traditional government systems, promoting his Green Book, which outlined his Third Universal Theory, a mix of socialism and direct democracy. Gaddafi renamed Libya the Great Socialist People's Libyan Arab Jamahiriya, a state governed by people's committees rather than elected representatives. Using Libya's vast oil wealth, he nationalized the oil industry and funded ambitious social and infrastructure projects. Key aspects of his rule. Pan-Arab and African unity. Initially, Gaddafi sought Arab unity but later pivoted to championing African integration, funding projects and movements across the continent. Despite claiming to advocate for direct democracy, his regime was tightly controlled, with dissent brutally suppressed. On foreign relations, Gaddafi supported revolutionary movements worldwide, earning Libya a reputation as a rogue state. He was accused of sponsoring terrorism, most notably the 1988 Lockerbie bombing, which led to international sanctions. In the 2000s, Gaddafi sought to improve relations with the West by renouncing Libya's weapons of mass destruction programs and cooperating on counterterrorism. Downfall and death. The Arab Spring in 2011. Inspired by uprisings in neighboring countries, protests erupted in Libya, demanding his removal. Gaddafi's forces responded violently, escalating the conflict into a civil war. NATO intervention. A United Nations resolution authorized NATO to intervene, and airstrikes significantly weakened Gaddafi's forces. Capture and death on October 20th, 2011. After months on the run, Gaddafi was captured and killed by rebel fighters in his hometown of Sirte. Graphic footage of his death circulated worldwide, symbolizing the collapse of his 42-year rule. Life in Libya after Muammar Gaddafi's death in 2011 has been marked by significant political instability, economic challenges, and social fragmentation. While his regime was criticized for its autocratic nature, its fall left a power vacuum that plunged the country into ongoing conflict and chaos. While his regime was criticized for its autocratic nature, its fall left a power vacuum that plunged the country into ongoing conflict and chaos. Civil conflict. Ongoing violence. The post-Gaddafi era has seen several waves of civil war, including a major conflict in 2019-2020 when Haftar's forces attempted to seize Tripoli. economic challenges, and oil industry disruptions. Libya's economy, heavily reliant on oil, has been severely affected. Frequent blockades and attacks on oil facilities by militias disrupted production. Revenues often fuel factional disputes rather than national development. Inflation and poverty has increased. Many Libyans face high living costs, unemployment, and currency devaluation. Public services, including education and healthcare, have deteriorated. Weak governance has led to widespread corruption, with funds often diverted to militia leaders or foreign backers. This nuanced perspective sets the stage for the larger question: was life under Gaddafi better than the current state of Libya?